You hear a lot of talk these days about quiet quitting. It's become a big conversation on social media and the news. And it's this, oh my gosh, now look at what's happening. People are quitting, but not really leaving. You know what's been around a lot longer than that? Quiet firing. It's just we've never talked about it. We didn't have language for it. It happens all the time. You might be doing it. Definitely maybe someplace you work is doing it right now. We're going to talk exactly about it and why it's a horrible strategy for leadership. There's a conversation that's become all the rage in this last year. It's called quiet quitting, where somebody actually works in an organization but slowly checks out over time, starts to withhold, and they've quit, but they're not really quit. They're just, taking the company down. I want to talk with you about something that's even gone on much longer than that called quiet firing. It might be happening all over your organization right now, and you might be actually a perpetrator of it. Hi, my name is Adrian Kaler. I'm a leadership coach for fast-moving founders, entrepreneurs, and corporate execs, and welcome to Naked Leadership. As most of you know, quiet quitting is when an employee actually stays employed at an organization but no longer acts employed. So they start withholding, start shutting down, start deferring most of their work, start playing more of the gossip and the political games. They're not that in, but they're going to stay as long as they can. Quiet firing is the other side of the same coin, where it's a leader actually has given up on an employee and they already have some resignation about them. Maybe they failed them. Maybe they've ended up becoming somebody they don't want to work with, but there's a conversation they don't want to have with them. So what will they do instead? They'll start to avoid them, withdraw from them, withhold resources from them, start conspiracies about them, put them in the corner, work around them, all of that. That's what quiet firing is. It's very expensive. In order to complete the setup, what they'll sometimes do, people that are doing this quiet firing, is they'll give them a project that they know they can't complete on. They will under-resource them, under-educate them, under-inform them, essentially set them up to fail. And there's a handful of things that naturally happen, right? The employees, it starts to get overwhelmed. They start to talk. They start to make excuses. They start to really become a type of person that's not a team player. With the amount of overwhelm over time, they're going to start to disengage, which naturally just kind of builds that case about why they aren't the right person for the job. And they might even do the best thing that the employer wants to do, which is they show themselves to the door. Leaders do this all the time, and it's not because it's not strategic, right? So there's benefits to it. So you usually set people up. You give them a project they can't complete on. You don't give them the resources they need. You don't give them the information they need. You don't build in the communication structure they need. And they slowly start to fail over time. They might become even more overwhelmed. It actually increases the challenge that person is, or the lack of results that they're creating. It makes it even worse. What's the purpose of this? Well, the purpose of this is their failure makes it even easier to fire them. Instead of having the conversations, they start to show themselves to the door naturally over time. They're going to start looking for other opportunities. And then you get to look good. You're going to let them go somewhere else. You're going to, you know what, you've not been a right fit for this. I'm really sorry. To get to look good in your own eyes, and they get to leave. So when they finally leave, it's not that you fired them, it's that they couldn't handle the job. From underneath your leadership, you wouldn't talk about it that way, but they feel relieved that they're outside of your leadership. And you know what? They're gone. It makes it very simple. Now you get to hire who you want to hire. You get to start fresh. And that's, of course, a benefit to you. As you can imagine, there are significant issues with this strategy. The level of honesty in any organization is viral. So one of the issues with this is it's massively inauthentic. And you know what I mean, right? You've got concerns about the person. Maybe you don't think they're up for it. Maybe you don't think they'll ever be up for it. You don't want to have that conversation with them. Instead, put on a show and load them up so that they quit. But really, you're being massively inauthentic. Now, you think that doesn't matter. You think this is a one-off situation with this one person. You're all justified about why it's right for this one person. But it is a model. People see you doing it. They don't trust you more. Next time you're going to load them up with something, what is this person really up to? And as you talk shit about this person, Tom, that can't get the job done, people start to wonder, what's he saying about me? What's she saying about me? What's really going on here? So the inauthenticity becomes viral in the organization. Trust goes down. Productivity goes down. This is one of the major issues with this strategy. The level of honesty in any organization is viral. How honest are we with one another? One of the major issues with this strategy is that it's radically inauthentic, right? And you know what I mean by that, right? So you've got an issue with this employee. You don't want them to be here anymore. Instead of going and having those conversations head on, like someone that's courageous would do, you're actually going to load them up and make them fail at such a way that they leave, instead of you having to be courageous and be bold and be honest and say, hey, I don't think this is working out for you or for me. So why does it matter as a leader when we're putting on a show instead of being authentic? Because everything you do as a leader is a modeling. People are going to watch you. People know what you're up to. They're smart just like you are, and they know that you don't mean it. They know what you're doing. They know all the gossip that you're saying about this person. They know why you're setting them up to fail. They know that you've put them out to pasture and you don't trust them anymore. And they know that also at any point, if they cross you, you might do the same thing with them. Anytime they get loaded up with some kind of project that might be stretching beyond, hold on, is this person doing it to me too? What are they saying about me in the boardroom? What are they saying about me in the executive chamber? What's going on here really? I don't know if I trust this guy. At its core, it's withholding and avoiding. Now, does that matter? I think it really matters, just because patterns exist inside of any organization. So if you're going to withhold as the top leader, if you're going to withhold and avoid conversations, you are setting the example about what's acceptable among the peers. And now you might find yourself complaining that other people avoid and withhold, but all of a sudden you can't make that argument. You can't have that authentic complaint because you're modeling that that's okay. And you've got all this special case because you're the boss and you get to do it because, you've got the authority to do so. But if you actually play this out over time, the avoidance and the withholding, all you've got is like empty chambers. People aren't talking. They're withholding information. They don't put themselves out there. They don't trust somebody else. They don't say what they need to say because they fear that a case is going to start being built around them. So they don't take these risks. And if people aren't being willing to talk about what's really going on and their real struggles, if people can't talk about their struggles, then they hide their struggles and they start to cover them up. And now you start to pay exponentially on the back end. There's penalties and interest because somebody's been unwilling to be honest, but you've set up a whole situation in which the leaders don't talk directly to it. Or they might talk directly to it in a very shameful, judgmental way, not in a championing way like a great leader would do, or advocating for somebody. So you set up the boundaries in the relationship that, if you're struggling, keep it to yourself. You have to fight. You have to be on your own when you work for me. Otherwise, I'm either going to correct you, reprimand you, or I'm just going to avoid and label you as a troubled employee and slowly build a case about why you can't make it here. Would you want to work at a place like that? Another reason why this is a bad strategy is it's burning time and money, and you know exactly what I mean. Every month that you pay a salary to someone you don't really believe in, you're wasting money. I paid them to perform at this level, they're performing at this level, so now I've got half the value on the dollar that I've been investing in them. That's the money part. Time, obviously, that's the same. As you're working with people and there's all these conversations you're unwilling to have with them, what does that mean? That means that it takes twice the amount of conversation on the side in order to get something done. You can't be frank and forthright and to the point and it to really work. Double the amount of time people have to process something. Tom's in the meeting and we can't really work with Tom, so let's wait and have this meeting on the side. Instead of speaking directly to the issues, we'll work around the symptoms of the issues for a long time instead of getting right to the point. Once you finally have the guts to let them go, or if they finally leave, now you got to start a whole replacement process, and that's going to take another several months. The justified nature of burning time and money, you can't really feel good to your investors or feel good to your board the fact that you're actually leading with integrity, because you're not. And when somebody's really unchecked and unsupported and underdeveloped, obviously there's a deep impact in your clients. That's what runs the company, right? The money that you bring in for the work that you do. How many clients are you willing to lose due to the conversations you're unwilling to have? Another reason quiet firing is a poor strategy is because you're going to end up naturally avoiding taking personal responsibility for your contribution to the breakdown. Now, why do we do this? Because when we hire people, we have high hopes for them. We believe in them. We put our name on it. We invest company money, time, energy, cultural change in order for this person to succeed. If the person's in breakdown, we can take it personally, or we can live in some kind of personal judgment about it, or just judging them about it. Both of those are unresourceful conversations, and I'm going to avoid it. And then I get to set up a pattern that when something's broken, I don't wonder about what I'm doing to generate this pattern. And from that, you're going to lose credibility in your organization. You're going to lose confidence in yourself. You're going to be very circumstantially driven. Like, if he, then we. If she, then we. Instead of saying, oh, we're going to do this, and I'm responsible for the we, what we're doing here. If this person's off, I need to figure out how to get them on board, get them up to the task, or to get them out in a very loving, conscientious way. In short, if you don't get real about your own contribution to the situation, you will recreate it with the next person. The last reason that quiet firing is a bad strategy is because you're an example and you're just a chicken shit. And you know it, and everybody around you knows it. It's just time to have courage and have the real conversation. You know the one you want to have. Just go ahead and have that conversation. Trust me, it will turn out a lot better than this big song and dance you're doing right now. Look, if you want to have integrity and trust in your team, then you need to do this. Anytime trouble starts to show up, have the conversation right away, whenever it's needed. Start whenever it's a 2 out of 10 instead of waiting till it's a real problem. We all want to be part of an organization that's full of trust and integrity. If you're a leader, it's your job to create that. So the challenge here is, for you, is to start to talk about issues whenever it's needed, when it first begins, instead of waiting until it gets longer. So the discipline is for you to talk about issues when it's a 2 out of 10 instead of waiting until it's an 8 or a 9 out of 10. So both quiet quitting and quiet firing are cowardice. Thanks for watching. If you got value out of this, please like and subscribe. And remember, your people are counting on you.